What's up, guys? It's Dragonfly Mike 77. Today I'm doing a hookah review. I ordered this on socialsmoke.com. This is an MZ, I think Genie is the name of it. I can't say the name properly, but if you look, you can see that it does have a little stamp on it. I was actually surprised. The weight of the tray is actually pretty nice. It's got some weight to it. As you can see already, it doesn't have a tray holder, which is kind of a pain because this doesn't sit that great, but just so you guys can see, it will hold a different tray. As you can also see right here, is it comes up a little high on it, but it still ends up working. I probably won't ever do that, but in case somebody was wondering, it does fit other trays. Now, for some reason, you guys will notice that I have a little rubber grommet type thing on top of the purge valve. The BB that it came in was a tad too small, and I was getting a lot of airflow through the purge valve. I had a couple extra BBs lying around, but for some reason I wasn't able to really get it airtight still. So there's a little trick you can do. Your purge valve, you won't really be able to use it too well. You can unscrew that, but it's a bit of a pain. What I did was I threw some foil inside here and put enough in so there was pressure on the BB when I screwed it in, so it's actually pushing it down into the hole. Also, that wasn't 100%, so I just took the rubber grommet, and once I bring the stem closer, you'll be able to see that there's the little holes, and it's actually covering that. Take this apart. The grommet was a little too tight when I first got it in, so I just took off some of the electrical tape they had. But just to give you an up-close view of it, very small. I was actually surprised. There aren't a lot of dings in it. Catch the light. There is one ding right there, as you can see, but it's really not. There aren't really many dings on it. I didn't notice that until right now. You can see that. That's not really a big deal to me. Any type of Egyptian hookah is going to have stuff like that. As you can see, the welding isn't the greatest, but that's pretty typical of hookahs like this. It's kind of hard to see. This camera isn't the best for. Let me see what happens when I zoom in. Now that's completely out of focus. So the welding right here isn't the best. When it comes to design flaws, the biggest one is right there. As you can see, it's pretty mashed up. Again, that's not a big deal. That's underneath. You won't be able to see that whatsoever. This is one of the design flaws. This thing is freaking massive. I don't understand why the little bell is so big on this. This prevents me from putting a diffuser on. And although a diffuser isn't necessary, with smaller hookahs, a lot of times you get a lot of vibration from, bowls like funnel bowls or Super Chiefs, just because the airflow on them is just absolutely amazing. It tends to create a lot of vibration in smaller hookahs. Heck, it creates it in a lot of big hookahs too. When it comes to the design flaw, the thing that I noticed the most that I'm not sure I really understand, and might have to do with the airflow problem, is this is the purge valve hole. As you can see, it's much bigger than the hose port hole, and I'm not sure. That's probably, that just happened. It's probably just this hookah, but that's kind of a bummer. That could have to do with some of the airflow. It doesn't matter if they're the same size, but you kind of always want the hose port hole to be a tad bigger. Other than that, as I said, this is a travel hookah, so I'm not really, when I'm on the road, if I can smoke, I'm happy. It might not be the best smoke in the world, but it's still going to be a good smoke. You know what I mean? So that's the stem, which I was alright with. The only thing that I was kind of disappointed, actually, was with the vase. This wasn't the vase that came with it. The vase that came with it was just a normal green little vase. And I've always really liked the Social Smoke dragon vases. I think they're cool. I like dragons. They're pretty sweet. But I noticed that, as you can see, the frosting isn't perfect on it. Where is it? Spinner. Ooh, there we go. It's got that little line in it. Looks like where the glass met up with one another. Or there's my burp for review. Wow, I don't understand that. Every time I review, I burp. Like the glass mat or something was pressing up against it when it was still a little hot. And that's kind of a bummer. Again, that's just aesthetics. It's not going to really affect the vase. But I've always liked these vases. And when I got it, there was, on one of the dragons, there was little white stickers on it. These dragons are not painted on. They put a sticker on and then frosted it. So these aren't really ever going to go away until the frosting starts to wear away. But from what I've noticed, frosting tends to stand the test of time. I will say this thing looks awesome when it's completely wet. You can kind of see through it, but not 100%. It looks pretty sweet. The only problem with that, with frosting in general, any type of vase, it doesn't really matter whether you get a boho or something like this, you know. Frosting is going to get water deposits on it. And what really is the biggest factor in that is if you have hard or soft water. The harder the water, the more calcium deposits and I think zinc deposits you're going to end up getting on here. Again, that's not really a big deal. That's just something that, you know, expect that. This is the biggest disappointment with the vase, is the band, as you can see, is not really that straight. It's pretty wobbly. You know, you can see right there. Again, not a big deal. It's a travel hookah. I still think it looks really wicked when it's put together. You can see if I can get the light right. Yep. You can see there's another line, looks like where the glass met up with the mold. That's it. Now where is, right here. This is, it's hard to tell just the way the light is. You can see there's a bit of an indentation that's flat right there, and that's also kind of a bummer. But the most important thing about vases is not the way that they look, surprisingly. It's that right there. How round is this? If it's not very round, if it tends to be a little oval, if there's a little chip here, anything like that, it can prevent the seal from the hookah not being airtight, and that's not good. But this is perfectly round. I don't have any problems with getting the hookah airtight. Now, as I said, this is a little tight. I'll just leave it like that. If your hookahs are a little too tight, I could fix it, but I am way too lazy right now, and I'll probably tinker with it at some point. But if you have, as I said, there's electrical tape under this grommet, and if you happen to have a grommet that is a little too tight, I mean, this does fit. I just got to twist it in, you know, but that's a little tight. That's dangerous to do because you can, your hand, you know, jets out, you smack it up against the counter or something like that. Let's just say that you don't have any electrical tape, you don't have any other grommets, and it's just a little tight. All you got to do to put it in there is wet the grommet a little bit or wet the glass a little bit. That will help it slide in a lot easier. Now, taking it apart, you may still have a couple issues, but getting it back in there will be very simple if you just wet the grommet a little when you're putting it together. The bowl that it came with, just a mod ceramic bowl. I probably won't use this when I'm at home. I'll probably take it out with me because I don't really care if I break it. Because, you know, I'm just not a big fan of ceramic bowls. They heat up too much. They're just not the best. So you can see I did use it. Whenever I get a hookah, I like using everything that it came with first. Let's talk about the hose. Hose is simple. It's just kind of, it's not a Maya hose, but it's styled very much like it. Airflow isn't great on it, but again, it's going to smoke double apple and Zegul and Saloon Plain. No problem, because that's all I'm taking with me. Now, these hoses you have to be very careful with. These rust very easily. You get just a little bit of water in there, and sooner or later you're going to have to get a new hose. So that's another reason why I wish I was able to fit a diffuser on that. Is diffusers really help prevent the kick up of the bubbles or any little splashes that you may get, because I do hit it very hard. The hose isn't bad. As I said, it's a great little travel hookah. It's small, winds up nice and small. That's no problem fitting that in a suitcase. Even with the bigger hoses you can do that, but it came with a little just white grommet. It's got a little bit of a lip. There you go. Now, something I did want to talk about, because I had never really ordered a hookah from Social Smoke before, comes with tongs, as most do. I am not a big fan of the tongs, but what I will say that I thought was real cool, you guys know I like the little novelty things like haze and the stack cans I thought were cool. As you can see, it's got this little thingy on there, and I was wondering, you know, I just looked at it real quick and wasn't sure what it was. It's a little hole poker. Isn't that cool? I thought that was pretty cool. Again, it could use a little, it doesn't have to be big, maybe a little wood thing right here so you don't stab yourself, you don't reach in and you're like, ah, crap. It doesn't really poke the best holes, they're a little too big, but again, it's not that big of a deal. This will be perfect for travel. I won't have to worry about bringing my poker or anything like that. And you just slide it in, like that. And it keeps the tongs together. I have a little bag for it. I don't know where it is. But yeah, I thought that was a little cool. For traveling, that makes it really easy. Again, it's nice and compact. I don't have to bring multiple things with me. Because of that, I like these. Functional, I don't really... They're really not all that great, but they're perfect for travel. That's the good positive on them. I would just let you scan it one more time. You can see the vase. I mean, I do think these are really cool. The quality of them is not as nice as I would like them to be. I am a bit of a snob and elitist when it comes to glass and vases, I know. But they're still pretty cool. I still enjoy them. The dragons are sweet. I know a lot of people are into them. I know a lot of people do like Starbuzz. They like their hookahs and all that kind of stuff. Those aren't the greatest hookahs, but since they have those dragon stems, the ones that actually have the cool little dragon on them, these vases would be awesome with those. And they do sell them in big pyramids. I would assume that they would fit. I'm not 100%, but yeah. So that's my little travel hookah. I am relatively content with it, as I said. The thing that I notice the most when it comes to actual performance, and I'm going to just tilt this up and sit down. I don't know if you can actually see me or what's going on, but the thing I did notice about performance, when it comes to little hookahs in general, I'm going to use some actual like tobacco pipe knowledge on this. When it comes to Doka, they have long pipes. They're like 14 inches long, and those are made for extra hot blends, things that really have a lot of kick to them, because they're supposed to cool down the smoke. Now, I was very skeptical of that. I was just kind of like, nope, maybe. There we go. I was like, you know, that's really not going to make the biggest difference. And I found out pretty quickly that it did make, you know, a significant difference. I noticed that the extra hot blends were a lot cooler. They still, you know, they still were pretty strong, but the throat hit wasn't, you know, as bad. Now, same idea with hookahs. The bigger the hookah, the cooler the smoke is going to be. Now, once you get to a certain point, it's kind of, there is such thing as too big. Sometimes hookahs are just too big. You actually can get a delay in the draw where you hit it and nothing happens for a second with really large hookahs. But with smaller hookahs, it doesn't have as much time for the smoke to cool down. Yeah, the water still cools it down. I'm not saying that it's harsh, but you will notice that the smoke is warmer. That, you know, you might sit there and you might actually go, this is a little harsh. You just have to adapt your heat management. You might not get the same, you know, huge atom bomb clouds that you're used to, because you just, with the smaller stems and smaller vases, you just don't have the time to cool your smoke. That's also why you can use, you know, ice in the vase, maybe colder water. Normally I use room temperature water, But with smaller hookahs, using ice in the vase will improve your sessions because it's actually going to cool down the smoke a lot more. That's with any hookahs, not just this one. The smaller the hookah, it tends to, for some reason, well, I told you the reason, you're going to notice that the smoke will be a little stronger. Again, if you're out on the road and you're using quick lights because you're not near a stove, or you don't have a blowtorch or a little travel, butane grill or something like that, this is going to smoke great. I'm going to be very content with having this. It's not a beast. I did really want a beast, but they were just too expensive, and I just don't have the money right now. So I got this little guy. I think he was 45 bucks. And what I ended up doing is, to get this vase, it was actually a little more expensive. I asked them to trade out a 50-gram sample that was going to come with this anyway, and if they would upgrade the vase. They said okay. They did say that we're doing this out of a courtesy. I don't really think they wanted to do it, but they still did, so thank you very much, Social Smoke. The order itself, when I actually got the package, just do a little Social Smoke vendor review. The package came within 5 days. Customer service was pretty good. As I said, they didn't really want to switch out the vase, but they still did it. And I'm somebody that sits there and goes, that's great if you want to do something for me, but if you don't want to do something for me and you still do it, that kind of means a little more. That means that you're kind of like, all right, fine. That means that even if you don't want to, you're trying really hard to make the customer happy. So again, I really appreciate that. The only thing that kind of bothered me a little is I didn't get a invoice with it. And somebody that forgets things very easily, I wouldn't remember where my head was on if it wasn't attached to my body. And I didn't get an invoice. That was kind of a bummer. Again, that's not like a huge deal because you can check your email. You can remember what you ordered. There are ways of doing it. But other than that, I was happy with the order I got from Social Smoke. Their Nakla is really cheap. It's only $8.50. The selection isn't that great, but to pick up double apples, agul, and some coals, it's really not too expensive. So I will order from Social Smoke again. Probably not very often, just because they don't have a lot on their website, and I try to make bigger orders at times. But if I just need 3 boxes of coals and 2 things of Nakla, Social Smoke is a good vendor. It was only, I think, like $4.95 for shipping. So, and I still got it within 5 days, and one of the days was Sunday. So I might have actually gotten it in 4 if I ordered it on like a Monday or something. Even though mail does travel, I know that. But just saying. So I am happy with the order I got with Social Smoke. I'll give them a thumbs up. If you have any questions about ordering from them, don't. As I said, the worst thing that happened was I didn't get an invoice. It's really not that big of a deal. But this little hookah, when it comes down to how it smokes, it's good. Travel-wise, perfect. It fits in a nice little case that I have really well. If you don't have a case, it's still compact enough that you can take it with you. It smokes well. When it comes to price, 45 bucks for this thing, plus tongs, bowl, hose, everything. Two things of quick lights, which I'm actually probably just going to bring with me because I don't feel like putting up with bringing coal burner and stuff through customs. That's just a pain. But yeah, so I mean, I'll give this a thumbs up. I like it. It's cute. It's my new little buddy. I'm very happy to have it. I think that's all I got. Please comment, like, and subscribe, and I will catch you guys later. Peace out.